So I am here with Tia and Dan Berens, founders, owners, creators of the Barn at Aspen Acres. Thanks for coming on to the 605 podcast. How are you guys today?
Pretty well.
Sweet. So for those that don't know, what is the Barn at Aspen Acres?
So approximately 8,000 square feet of a white modern barn that is opened up for weddings and other events. It sits on 40 acres, has some massive chandeliers.
Purpose built for weddings and events. So
Yeah.
it's not a remodel. We thought of everything, you think?
We hope.
For the most part.
Well, I know when I first went out there, I've been in the wedding industry for like 5 years now or something, and the first thing when I went to tour it before your guys' wedding, like that was like my first thought. I was like, this is like made for weddings. Like this is the most convenient venue out of all the venues I've been to here in the Black Hills. Like this is the most convenient wedding venue I've ever like been to. So
Thanks.
I think the idea that you guys
Unfortunately, we still get unsolicited advice, but
really what
we thought we
advice
did
do you get?
okay. Like the DJ thing, like, oh, you should have put a driveway right here for the DJs.
Oh,
So there's
I guess
something.
that is like one thing, because I guess that day that that one wedding we didn't want to track through the mud, so we just had to like go like around the
going
sidewalk. But I mean, I've like walked upstairs.
I think
and, like,
anytime you put in like convenience, and then it's just like you could have gone one more step, you always get the advice for the
Yeah,
one more
that's true.
step.
Yeah, at some point, too much convenience becomes ugly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you lose. But I think eventually we should probably put some pavers or something out there. Make that
Yeah.
look cool.
I mean, you don't want to lose the beauty of it either.
Right.
With like a bunch of concrete, and there's already like enough concrete out there.
Yeah.
I also like if it's not muddy, you could probably just like back up to that, right? Like on the grass, or do you still not want people to do that?
Yeah, we'd probably put some pavers or something so we'd save the grass because, that's every weekend a couple big trucks going through would probably tear it up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think also like we even let people drive up on our sidewalk, like to the front of the barn, and then they're just not cautious and will run into our grass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like someday they're gonna hit one of our sprinkler heads, and then it's gonna be a bigger issue.
Yeah.
So I think there's multiple things about it, but
That's
yeah,
fair.
Not everyone's good at backing up trailers.
yeah, no.
Don't trust me to back up a trailer for sure. So the first wedding out there was your guys's, which we'll get into here in a bit, but that was in August of this year, correct?
Yeah.
So how many weddings have you had since?
We're gonna have our 10th one this weekend.
10th one. Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. How does it feel?
It's awesome. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's
Went fast.
they go
And
fast.
2020 is probably almost completely booked, I'm assuming.
Almost. We're almost there.
'Cause
Yeah,
all
a
the-
couple Saturdays and
Oh,
some
you do have
Fridays.
Saturdays open.
Yeah, there's 2 of the rally weekends.
Okay.
And Halloween, if anyone wants a Halloween wedding.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, sweet. And then other than weddings, you guys have hosted events like the family, I'm going to butcher the actual names that you guys give them, but the family names, there was a ladies' night with a fashion show, the food truck festival. You guys hosted us at the Hook for Friendsgiving, which is super cool. So it's kind of nice that you guys are open to the idea of like, okay, yeah, we're a wedding venue maybe first, but like you're not limiting yourself to, oh, this isn't a wedding, we don't want to do this. I know you and I have talked about putting on maybe like a conference for leadership or business and stuff like that. So kind of what is maybe like the idea and process of like, okay, we don't want to just be a wedding venue.
Yeah, I think this year was a lot of like trial and error to figure out what we really wanted. In our winter months, of course, our main focus is weddings, and we'd love to have like winter weddings, which may eventually end up taking away from some of the other events that we have been trying. But at least now we know like, hey, we for sure always want this event, or this one could slide out. We love the idea of Christmas parties, and I think Christmas parties can be any night of the week. They probably have a preference of Friday and Saturday too, but I think Christmas parties will be another huge feature for us. It's bigger than a restaurant, and they get to bring in whatever food they want, which I think is a huge asset to the barn in general, is being able to bring whatever food in that you want and let that kind of be your own creation. So if you want to do your own food, awesome. If you want to make it super cheap, you can. If you are looking for that prime rib dinner, you can still do that.
So yeah, we like to use our space. If it's open, we like to use it, and we want to have some kind of value out of it, whether it's like through the community or the business plan. But yeah, going from there. You want to talk about that family thing? You set that all up and all that.
Yeah, so the family day was actually really awesome. So we decided to do a ladies' night the night before, and then we did family day the next day. And within the creation of it, I thought it would be really cool to just invite a bunch of the nonprofits in the area to come. And apparently there's not another area that has just let kind of like a nonprofit carnival happen. And that's what we did over like Halloween. I think it was called the Fall Festival Family Day, and it was November, but it was like the week of Halloween. So kids were still jazzed, and some still came in costumes, and so it was like a perfect time. And it was a good event just to get people out and get awareness out about all the other nonprofits in the community. It wasn't even just Northern Hills. We even had some from Rapids, so that was awesome.
That's super cool. Is there any like limitations on like, obviously other than like weddings will mostly be on Friday and Saturdays, is there like anything you're like, no, we won't, like we don't want to like do that? Or is kind of like the sky is the limit with the barn?
Yeah, the sky's kind of the limit. I think there's like, we won't probably ever be able to accomplish an outdoor like music festival just with some guidelines that we have around like music and stuff. But we can probably get permits and stuff for that. So yeah, the sky's kind of the limit.
What is that though? Like
so like one of the restrictions we have is that we can't play outside music past a certain amount of like, I don't even know what it is. Certain evening, it's like 6 o'clock or something like that.
Really?
That we can't have amplified music, and that's just to protect our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
We get it.
That's fair.
That was going through the county process of getting our project through, and I don't know. No one's complained about us yet, and I thought we've been pretty loud, but
we're cautious.
The garage doors open, but I don't know. It dissipates pretty quickly too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of open country out there.
Yeah. Huh.
So
we're conscious about it though.
Yeah, we are for sure.
I don't know. I think the barn is pretty soundproof too. Like once you walk outside, you don't really hear
a ton of it.
Yeah. So interesting. I guess I don't know. I'm gonna go out on the record and say I hosted a little bit of a music event. I live out of town, kind of like honestly I like the barn because it's like if I have anything going on that day, I literally have to like drive 5 minutes to get there. And I'm gonna go on the record and say that I hosted a music event outside that I did not get any sort of permission or permit for. But I don't know. Nobody probably could hear me. I probably have less neighbors than the barn does, maybe.
Yeah, and I think we probably have a watchful eye where you probably didn't.
A what?
A watchful eye. People,
what is that?
People watching over us.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
How many people did you have?
Oh, not that many. Probably like 60 or something. So.
More like a bonfire.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But so, and then like I guess you were talking about events that were successful. So you like the family day. What about the ladies' night?
Yeah, ladies' night I think can get more successful. From what I heard, the vendors that participated in it had success. However, I think sometimes we as business owners like put this inside of like it's going to be, I need 150 people to show up for it to have been successful. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I wish I didn't put that stipulation on me because it was successful and maybe 50 people showed up. Wow. So I think that's really difficult for me to wrap my head around, and maybe I'm a little hard on myself.
Yeah, what's also interesting in any event that we put together, and we're trying all this out this fall, but there's always competing events. Mm-hmm. Like I think that weekend, homecoming was going on or something.
Yeah, there was a lot of things.
And so it was a lot of families were going to be pulled away for that. So
also, I think a big struggle is like we rely so much, and it's not just me. I know this is like several other businesses rely so much on the Facebook event and we look at it and it says interested and there's like 500 people and then 50 show up and you're like, whoa, what just happened? Like, you totally fooled me. And that happened with our food truck festival. Like, we had like 1,500 people interested. And
1,500?
Yeah, and we were like, what's going on? This has got to be a joke. And then 700 people showed up. Yeah. And we were like, what just happened?
Yeah, that was super successful.
Yeah.
People said they waited like an hour in line just to get Eddie's tacos. And tons of the other vendors were like, not really, because I didn't bring enough food for this.
Yeah.
So that was super
successful. I think 5 of the food trucks ran out of food, which was pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Is that an event that would be like returning?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Sweet. Are there any other events that I'm like missing?
I don't think so.
We've had some market things, some craft.
Oh yeah, like we had a flea market series.
Flea markets, yeah.
How did those go?
We could probably shorten the time that we have them for, just stick them to the morning, and I don't know. It's just we had some cool vendors and some people, and I don't know. You just deal with a lot of people there, and so you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
So my good friend Petey Doyle that owns Blue Spruce
says
peopling is hard.
Oh.
And peopling at this event was really hard.
Okay. Huh.
So I think if we did it again, it has to be in conjunction with kind of like the food truck festival, or like they have to have another reason to show up. So like Santa was there for winter one, and that seemed to like pull some people in.
Okay.
So I think it has to be.
That was really successful. That was really cool.
Yeah. But Santa was only there for like 2 hours, so it was like super busy for 2 hours. And then the rest of the time it was just kind of like mediocre. So
it's like you have in when you have a wedding, you have the one client basically, the bride, the couple, and the family generally. But that one, it just seemed like we had all the vendors we had so many different people to manage there, and so that was it was kind of exhausting for the work it was for.
And that was more of like a flea market. So have you guys ever thought about doing like a bridal fair? That's what they're called? Where they do usually like vendors for wedding businesses?
So we're going to be doing one in conjunction with Bessler's Cadillac Ranch.
Oh, okay.
And on February 15th, so the day after Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And we're going to be having a bunch of vendors out. It won't be like just anybody and everybody. It'll be have selected ones.
Okay.
And all the bride and grooms can come and check out our favorite vendors, and there'll be a shuttle going in between Bessler's and ours.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and Bessler's has been great. They've been very supportive, and you know, Allie and I have frequent coffees and catch up. So it's been cool to be able to have somebody else in the industry that really helps just kind of be there for you. But that kind of leads me to a cool feature. So at the February 15th event, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of what's being launched. So Beneath the Pines, which is glamping tents here in Spearfish, will be setting up their live first tent out at the barn, because they will be featuring their tents that will be used at events at our 2020 weddings. So you can rent the glamping tents for a 2020 wedding. So I think they said they could have 3 to 4, maybe up to 8 tents out at the barn. And I think they range from like $120 to like $199, depending on how big and fancy you want to go.
Huh.
So.
And for those that don't know, what is a glamping tent? Because I didn't know. I was like, what?
Very large luxury tents that are
like a big canvas
tan of like it's like the size of this room, the size of a good sized bedroom.
Okay.
And we put legitimate furniture in there, and we stayed in one in Moab, and Moab's hot, and and we actually it was pretty comfortable.
Huh.
So.
Sweet.
Yeah, so they have like a real bed in there, and yeah, it's pretty comfortable. It's like luxury camping.
Have you guys watched the Fire Festival? documentaries.
Yeah.
So is that what those were supposed to be, kind of?
I don't know, but that's not what they are.
I know they're not.
They had cabanas or something like that.
Yeah.
They had some canvas tents though, but then they like just basically put like wet blow-up mattresses.
Yeah, that was a big fail.
Cots.
That is not what you'll get at the Barn At Aspen Acres.
No, Beneath Pines has some pictures in that, yeah.
Okay.
And if you look up glamping, those are the things that people typically think of, I think.
Okay. I'll link that in the description too.
Yeah.
Of the podcast.
People know what glamping is.
Yeah.
Glamorous
Well,
camping.
no, just the not that the actual company.
Beneath the Pines.
Yeah,
Okay.
Beneath the Pines. So, all right. Well, the process, the creation of the barn, I think the story is super interesting because, I mean, obviously this probably isn't 100% just this to some degree, but like everybody's always like, oh yeah, like we're gonna get married. Where do we get married at? Oh, let's just build our own venue, and that's what people like to say you two did, which I don't know if that's like 100% true. I'm sure there was like an actual business opportunity there that you guys wanted to venture into, but can you maybe talk about like the history and the story of
That's
the barn?
like legit, like the one thing that like makes us cringe is that
Oh really?
people are like, oh yeah, you created a wedding venue for your wedding, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
we kind of did, but we kind of didn't.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not like we went and bought land and built, you know, a huge building for just ourselves. Like, we're not selfish.
Yeah.
Like, we had a reason behind doing that.
It's that and more.
I think
Right.
it's just a big. For me, I know it's not just that. So it's just like it's a funny joke in a way.
Right.
I mean, it is
to us, because
unique
we've talked about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's such a unique story at the end of the day too. For like your guys' wedding venue to be like the first wedding there is your guys's.
Yeah. So, it kind of started because we were engaged and started looking at the process of just finding a venue for us, and it was really difficult to find something that was modern, large in size, and that we could like bring in our own food. That was the other feature that we really wanted to do, and so it was difficult in the hills. So then Dan's from Iowa, and so we started looking back in like Sioux Falls area, like do we meet halfway? Do we go to Colorado? And then we kind of were just kind of stopped in our tracks and said, wait, why are we looking outside of the hills where we love and it's home to us? Like other people have to be having this problem too. And the more people we talk to, the more we realize like this is a really big issue and a really big gap into the wedding industry.
Yeah, there's one in my hometown that we toured, and well, we toured several of them, actually, and to get more ideas, and that's why our building is the way it is, so convenient and purpose built. But yeah, we weren't finding the look, and we weren't super in love with anything that we found around here. We saw a lot of compromises, and then Tia's always been like a girl boss per se, you know, or a boss, just a boss.
Gotcha.
And she has been working for the man per se,
Mm-hmm.
and wanted to get into something that she could run and take off with her talents.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of my process too, is like help her in that way. And then also I'm from a farm, and the land out there and getting out on the tractor is part of the reason I wanted to be out there too.
That's fair. Okay.
I think he's right about that. I think that like coming from working in the corporate world, like you are always working for somebody else and you have to be so cautious of what you're doing in your free time.
Mm-hmm.
So like in order for me to not feel guilty about what I'm doing and coming to this podcast, working for another company would have been like such a guilt-driven piece, even though that they should be encouraging people to do that. But
Yeah.
for me, it was like always like, oh, you have to stop at Walmart. I hope you don't see somebody that you know. Like, so I think for me now, it's like I can go to Walmart whenever I want,
Yeah.
and not feel guilty about it. But I know that sounds really small, but it was definitely an anxiety-driven situation. So I like the freedom that I have now.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So even if the barn never came to be, like there's a high chance that you probably would have like gone like more towards like the entrepreneur side and like created your own like business where you're your own like boss?
That's a good question. I've been in sales my whole life, so I think that there's always been like a piece of me that's had my own, like I've always been driven to like do what you like, it's your business, run it how you want in the sales world. But it's never been mine and it's never been my product, so it's hard to like get the passion that you want behind it. And that's I think what I really wanted out of the barn was like I'm really passionate about being able to do it, and I also work with really great people that like make me happy, and I'm excited and thrilled with them.
Yeah, Tia has a marketing degree, and she can sell snake oil. Basically, she has this bubbly personality, and I'm kind of flat and analytical. We're always trying to figure stuff out and that kind of thing. I think we probably would have done something, but not probably as grand.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think this process started out much smaller, but one of the things that we always told each other that if we do this, we're not half-assing it. Like, we're not going to go in and only kind of halfway do it. Like, we're not going to come in and make it smaller than what we really want it to be. Like, we have to go in and do it what's needed and what the market is after.
We saw too many compromises, and when we did our market research, and we found the need for 400 people. People always say 400 around here, but to do it well, you have to have the space, and you just don't unless it's a big convention center.
Yeah.
And so that's what pushed us to go as big as what we did, and then all purpose driven from there. Talking to all the vendors and all that too. So
yeah.
And I guess like maybe talk a little bit about like I mean it's purpose driven, and like what are like those features, I guess, in terms of it being purpose driven.
So I think like when I do my tours, some of the big highlights that I point out, like in our DJ space, we made sure that there's 3 different outlets so that a DJ doesn't blow an out or a breaker. And the same thing with the catering kitchen, like we consistently put 3 outlets over there in case people need them. In our catering kitchen, like we don't have any actual like warming or cooling or anything like that. But we do have, commercial dishwasher,
triple sinks,
big counters for people to use for prepping. So we tried to make that convenient. I think
we made it pretty large compared to most people's sinks. Kitchens. We have like a dirty side where all the washing and prepping and stuff can go, and then the clean side where you can have tons of cakes or all your preparation of plating. Some people have plated dinners and they all prep it out there, and servers come in and out. That way. I
think we could have made everything bigger, but that costs you so much more. So I think that's probably feedback we always get too. Like, we could have definitely made our kitchen bigger. We could have definitely made our bar bigger. We definitely.
It's crazy. People think like it should be bigger sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Us. Yeah.
It's already so big.
Sometimes it does get really crowded in the kitchen, but I think any kitchen probably gets really crowded.
Yeah.
So, and then our biggest feature is the upstairs bridal loft.
Yeah.
So you can get ready, get married, and have your reception all in one spot. So that's been a huge, easy selling point for us. Unfortunately, I don't have a great place for the guys, but maybe now with the glamping tents.
That's a good idea. Actually,
there, or maybe build a shed or something that we can all. I can host them all there in my man cave.
Yeah, I'm definitely probably.
I like about the barn that it's not like when you guys went into it, it wasn't just so couple like driven in terms of those purposes. It was like, okay, we gotta keep our vendors in mind and stuff too. And so like it's very like it's both sides coming together in that way. So that's really cool that you guys were able to kind of like think all of that through and make it like how it is and stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I guess if you want to talk about maybe the actual creation process, so like there's that moment of like, okay, we're gonna do this, or we're in, like what are some of like the steps that I guess you had to like go through to like make that even happen?
Yeah. So.
See if we can do this in chronological order.
Yeah. So I think first of all, like creating the business plan and like sitting down, but then like the second part is like really believing in it, because there was a lot of crashing points where we were like, let's just throw it all away. We're done. Let's just throw it all away.
Yeah, kind of seesawing.
So I think like really believing in what you're doing and knowing that there's a need is like the only way that you'll be able to overcome it and make it like front to finish or start to finish. So yeah, we did the business plan. We started going in and getting bank approval. From bank approval,
Yeah.
we started working.
Architects first.
Yeah, we started working with our architects about the same time.
Yeah, I think we started
Maybe a little.
the business plan and architects about the same time, and then
Architects really determine your price point. For us, at least, it was.
yeah.
I think you can go two different routes. You can go right to the builder, or you can go with an architect. But I think that what we did with the architect was to make sure that we had all those fine details and really purpose it out.
Yeah, they definitely help guide you, and they walk you through the whole construction process too, and so they have a lot of experience. And
We use Williams and Associates
they
here,
have
here in Spearfish.
they have a great eye and in the way that our building sits and all that that we might get into later, but yeah, I believe we started off with the architects and then our business plan, and then we got an initial assessment of what our project would cost, and we're like, whoa. And
That was our first, like, do we just crumple it up and throw it away?
making this probably a bit too grand, too many things on the wish list per se, and then we re-evaluated there, and then we started talking to banks, I believe.
Yeah. And then after banks, we went into really figuring out where our land was going to be. And that was really nice to have the architects on board, because we had like, do we go in the hills and have like a really like hillsy type of venue, or do we keep it like open air and really have the views? Because you can't really have both.
Yeah, that's true.
We can plant trees, but we can't be in the trees and have views. So the architects really were like, here's where I would put it if you did it here, and here's where I would put it if you did it here. And they like visually, I don't think Dan and I could see what their vision was until it was like frames in the ground. Oh wow, like that's actually framed Crow Peak perfectly.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And everyone thinks our building's crooked, but
Yeah, we settled on our land because well, initially it just has great views, and then they framed it in a way that gets in our big picture windows the Crow Peak. That's the detail that architects are very useful for.
Yeah.
So then the next process after architects was the county getting our conditional use permit for the land.
Planning and zoning first, and then the commission.
So what was interesting is we actually went and got our county conditional use permit before we actually had completed and purchased the land. Just because that was a huge, if we could not end up getting the conditional use permit for that property, essentially our whole business plan for that property would have went down the drain.
Oh wow.
So we did get it with some regulations.
Yeah.
But it was overall a very stressful process.
Felt like high stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of our neighbors, came out and expressed their concerns, and we got through that, and I think we came through, and everyone's happy now. But at the time, they were worried about how it was going to be.
Just like traffic, maybe,
Yeah,
or
maybe drunk people driving, or noise, or just disrupting the peace per se.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you haven't had any complaints since opening. Nobody's been
You
like,
really haven't, no.
Yeah, that's good.
No. Yeah.
Huh.
So after county conditional use permit, planning and zoning, and then county commission, We purchased the land, and then right away we went to bid to the actual. So this, like, give you perspective, this is probably like November, December, finishing this in January, going to bid the end of January, not completing bids until really the end of February. And then the first week of March, we broke ground, and we had picked Ainsworth Benning as our builder.
Huh.
So then
That's already a very fast process.
Yes.
Like, that's a lot in a short amount of time.
And to think we were both like
it
still
was.
working full time, and that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Looking back. So.
Yeah. After our project was done, they said that this is about the fastest you could do it. So
Wow.
architects generally said that.
My favorite thing that our one of the guys on the building team said was, I was pretty pushy on some things, and he said, the next time I go buy a car, you're coming with me.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but I think there is a little bit of grit and tenacity and sticking to your guns.
So yeah, in March we broke ground, and if you recall, it was super cold in February into March.
Yeah.
And the ground was frozen like 2 feet deep. It was like chunks of ice, basically, is what it was. And so they had to heat it up for like ground heaters for about a week before they could pour footings.
Oh, wow.
And it was pretty crazy. And we had a huge delay because of that. And then also big delays were all the snow we had. We had like about 18 inches, 2 different snowstorms in May, I believe.
Yeah.
And construction sites are a muddy mess when you have
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it was so wet throughout the summer. It's surprising that they could get it done, but our hard deadline was our wedding, and so they were quite motivated.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Which we should probably tell people, like, we had to move our wedding. Like,
yeah,
I don't
You
think a
did?
ton of people know that, yeah.
Oh.
So our original wedding date was June 29th,
Oh, wow.
and so we ended
Dang.
up moving it back
yeah.
a month and some days.
We set that up. Yeah, originally when
It's hard
we first
because we
started,
were engaged in like February, and then we started this process.
like a
and-
year and a half before that.
Yeah.
And then you get into it and the weather, and if everything gone perfectly, we might have been able to pull that off.
Good weather.
Yeah.
But well, we changed that in February, right?
Yeah, it was like February or January. Yeah. Probably February.
When we found out it was not going to work.
No.
They
At least you kinda
can't
knew
build
early.
a barn and
Yeah.
all that in like 4 months.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, it is insane. But we didn't know, and but we were going for our date pretty hard. So we actually saved the dates, and we kind of had to change that, and it was confusing for our people, but we got it all figured out.
Do you think anybody showed up on June 29th all dressed
were
up?
worried.
And
We were super worried, but
We were worried, and
That's
we were hoping when that date came around, we were just like,
there was a little mishap with our invites, and so after that, it was
Did
better.
anybody show up?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's good.
That's good.
that would make you feel terrible, I'm sure. Like somebody flies out from
We'll take
Idaho or
them to-
whatever.
Yeah, we were like, well, if anyone shows up, we'll take him to eat or something.
So did you guys start booking weddings and like after like it was 100% done, or like after your wedding, or when were you like, okay,
No.
we can start booking weddings now?
We started booking in like December.
Yeah.
January.
But like not for, did you book any in July?
So
And
we
then
did
had to
have
move
a
them?
couple booked,
Yeah,
yeah,
we did.
and,
Oh, wow.
and had to move them. And luckily, I think we only lost one. Everyone else moved them because they wanted to be at the barn. So
Yeah,
we're
our
pretty
first-
lucky. Like,
First people coming through, we won't forget them, I don't think.
no.
Cause,
And I think you're so close to them and like always checking in and making sure like they kind of became family. So yeah, there was several
That's-
people that booked before anything was built.
Oh,
that was pretty cool. We would show them, even our like upcoming, our wedding this weekend, like we showed them our
Yeah.
beautiful land spot without any building or any construction even going on it.
Yeah.
It was just snowy and hey, this is our play.
And they were still like, yeah, we want to like get married here.
Yeah, and we just showed them the
crazy.
architect schematics, and that's about it.
Dang.
Yeah, they were.
And, they're
So
very
clearly,
trusting.
I can sell some pretty crazy things.
Yeah.
Imagines.
Selling
Imaginary
hopes and
items.
dreams here.
Yeah. No, it worked out. Everything was on time. That was definitely like something that was. They were like, well, it's not gonna be done for my wedding, and we're like, no, it'll be done for your wedding because it's got to be done for our wedding.
Yeah. And so that helped.
It did.
It helped them, yeah.
But
Not freak out.
So it was almost like low key a business move with your wedding being like the first one there in a sense, because it's like all these other people are watching this being built, being like, oh my god, this isn't gonna be done. And you're able to tell them that. They're like, well, that's true.
yeah,
Mhm.
that helped us a lot. I mean, like them believing that it would be done because we kind of had so much skin in the game at that point that
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, and the builders knew like they had that we had skin in the game. I kind of feel bad for them some days, but other days I'm like, no, you just needed the pressure. So,
Yeah. So, on your wedding day, how hard was it like to take away your position of like ownership, like both of you guys taking away ownership and be like, today is like my wedding, like I am not like you know, like you don't want to probably like, I guess, be the boss that day probably in a sense, like there's probably a feeling where it's like, oh, I need to go in the kitchen or go to the bar and help everybody out or whatever, but like you're like, no, I can't do that because like this is my wedding. Was that hard?
I
'Cause,
think
mean,
it would have
is
been
yours.
hard like month 2, but I think at that point we didn't know any better, or we didn't know what we were supposed to be doing, so I think it was okay for us to like let it go.
Okay.
But had it been like month 2, I think that it would have probably been a nervous wreck.
Oh.
But now I'm like to the point now where I'm like, oh, like I know what everyone's pieces are, like I know what people should be doing, they know what they should be doing.
Yeah.
So I think then I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
The middle of the road, I was like, I had no idea, people didn't know, so it was like kind of scary. And then like the end of it now, right, like the end of the year, I'm like, oh, I don't need to be there, I can leave.
Yeah.
I know my staff has it figured out.
Yeah.
So
The day of, though, I mean, there's so many things that are scheduled
Mm-hmm.
the day of our wedding that I was oblivious
Yeah, that's fair.
to the business generally, because there's so many people like looking at you and you want to see everyone, you know.
Yeah.
All up through your childhood and stuff like that. So it's just nonstop talking to people and stuff, and so I did.
And I think that's the truth about a lot of people getting married. Like you just, like they end up just letting things go
Mhm.
because it's so out of your control. Like you need to just live in that moment and
That's fair.
have a good time. So
I just feel like there would be extra pressure in the sense of like,
yeah.
but like you said, like you don't even know at that point because it's like the first wedding there. But that's cool that you were able to trust everybody else. Like, but I mean, that's got to be a lot of trust because it's just like, it's not just like I'm trusting these people with my wedding. I'm also trusting these people with like
My building.
this whole building, this whole business on, you know, because for them, like,
It was crazy the week before our wedding. Like
Yeah.
I took a week off, and our families were there. Tia was off work too. I mean, and it was just dusk till dawn, going hard because we couldn't even like get furniture or anything like that in there until
Like 3 or 4 days before our wedding. It was pretty crazy.
our big old tables and things that weigh,
Oh, wow.
each of them weigh like 120 pounds or something. And
Yeah,
that
our
was-
family,
that was
all of our
nuts.
family, Dan's mom and dad, both my parents, siblings, like showed up, and friends were coming after work and at 5 o'clock, and like we'll never
the week
forget like
of your wedding.
Yeah. So like we'll never.
I just wanted to chill the day of your wedding.
Oh yeah, for sure. But we'll never be like undo all of the gratefulness that we have
Yeah.
for people just showing up, and although we want them to come back because we could use them more. Just kidding. They have not been back since our wedding.
Dang.
they'll be back.
Yeah, they will.
So I guess moving on. Let's see. Let me just read this. As someone that recently got married and owns a wedding venue, what advice do you have for upcoming newlyweds? Because you've gone through not just like upcoming wedding pressure and like anxiety. You guys have gone through like that plus what you just explained all at once. But you've also done now weddings for 10 other, couples. So
I think mine's 2 parts. So I think like the day of your wedding, of just like being present and really embracing the people that love you around you, and knowing that it's about you and your soon-to-be husband, that's really what that day is about. And then I think secondly, like after you're married, like giving the other person grace, because especially for us, there's been a lot of stressful moments. So like if there's something that you're just like, oh my gosh, it drives me crazy, like just taking a deep breath and giving them grace about it.
Yeah, and then as far as couples coming up, through the wedding process, there is a lot of opinions, and then I think you need, out of your family, you need to set up like a core people that you talk to, and then all the other aunts and uncles that have strong opinions, they need to come through like a point person, and leave the like bride out of it. And that we have seen has been very stressful for the bride and groom in general.
Like having a day of coordinator, like I don't even, like not even like somebody that's hired, like even just like picking that, like you said, that like one person of a point person, we've seen like be the most successful of, not having chaos or not having stress. Like that one person just basically takes it all that day. And
That's funny that you guys say that, because that's always the advice, or like my big thing with wedding couples is the first thing I ask in consultations. I'm like, do you have a wedding planner, like a wedding coordinator? And the second they say no, I get like a little anxious about it. So I think that's like super important.
And not even like a full, like it doesn't even need to be like an actual hired person. Just having somebody as a point person that actually can just like jump in and coordinate. And
just like a responsible aunt or
I had a friend that like really stepped up. My friend Becky really just like whatever was happening, like especially with the barn, like I just trusted her. She's always been my quote unquote work wife, and like I just trusted her. Like whatever was going on, don't tell me. Like you just take care of it, because I know that you'll take care of it as well as I will at this point. So I think having that one person that could have just deloaded off of me was big, and obviously other brides.
And you guys had a wedding planner as well.
Yeah, she didn't take she was more there I think to help with like the decorating and stuff versus like she didn't do
like
check-ins with me. Yeah.
That's fair. So coming up, as far other than the bridal fair that you guys have planned with Beslers, you also have the Queen City New Year's Ball, which happens to be on the December 31st to January 1st.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about that event?
Yeah, we're super excited about that event. It's up and coming fast. So tickets, there's 2 different types of tickets. There's a VIP ticket, and then there's also just the general admission. VIP is $250 for a couple, and then the general admission's $80 for a couple. It's a little bit more if you go as a single, but from start to finish, it'll be the VIP will be red carpet in. We'll have a photographer there to take pictures. You'll be seated with dinner. You'll get a free drink. The dinner is like a prime rib dinner from Farmhouse Bistro. And then after dinner, we'll move you guys upstairs. You'll be able to have like another cocktail, dessert, and then you'll come back downstairs, and that's when general admission starts. General admission will have, again, red carpet entrance, pictures with the photographer, butler pass appetizers, a free drink. We're having the cotton candy lady there. You guys are DJing.
The ball drop.
Yeah, we'll do like 1,000 balloons will drop at midnight, which is pretty crazy. And then we'll also have a champagne toast. So there's just some really cool things that we might do. A couple giveaways of some Dom Perignon, and I don't know, it's gonna be cool. There's a lot of fun stuff that keeps getting added in that's just making it an awesome event. So we have some friends that are like, we're actually gonna be going as guests, which is amazing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I bought
Not
a dress.
working it. Nice.
Yeah. So we have some friends that are like coming to the dinner, and then we have other friends in that group that are just gonna come just for the party side of things. So either way, it's gonna be fun.
Heck yeah.
So
Is there anything else upcoming for the barn at Aspen Acres?
no.
We have what's that? Kids.
Oh yeah, wait. There is a but that's not. I think that's in February. South Dakota Kids Belong is doing a festival or a evening out there to talk about what they are. I think you'd probably have to go to their Facebook page and find it. South Dakota Kids Belong. Other than that, we have 3 weddings in the next month. So
wow.
yeah, winter weddings.
As the snow melts.
Yeah. It is been melting today.
Well, sweet. I appreciate you guys coming on and telling you guys a story and some of the advice and stuff. I will link the barn's website and Facebook, Instagram, and anything else that you might want me to put on there. And yeah, thank you guys for coming on. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
Thank Jason.
Yeah.